Good morning. Probably not. They'll probably kick me out again. I think the last, I might have to leave on the last item,
Oh, for
the salary adjustments and all that. I might have to leave on that one.
well, welcome back.
Hey, listen, though.
Yeah, does it up.
Is that little?
Some of them. Yeah.
Ready? Okay, this meeting of the Mineral County Board of Supervisors now called to order. We have a quorum present of everyone, so we don't need to do roll call today. Only when we have someone online we'll do that. Any additions to the agenda, clerk?
No, there's not.
Okay, thank you. County Council, can you read closed session into the agenda, please?
Yes, Chairman. Good morning. There are 3 items for your closed session today. One is under Government Code Section 54957.6, Conference with Labor Negotiators. Your agency designated representatives are your CAO and Director of Human Resource. The employee organization is all units along with unrepresented employees, excluding elected officials. The other items are under Government Code Section 54957, under Public Employee Appointment Employment. There are 2 positions, the Director of Behavioral Health Services and the Agricultural Commissioner, Stiller of Weights and Measures. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any comment from the public on closed session items? No comment from the public. We'll bring it back to the board, and if there's no comment from the board, we'll move into closed session. Oh, I go wiener. Okay. Oh, you wanted to comment? Just accidentally, huh? Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep.
You're live.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, we're reconvening from closed session, and Supervisor Rodriguez has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please let the meeting minutes reflect. I abstained from closed session from 9:15 to 9:52 a.m. to avoid any conflict related to the clerk of the board and my relationship to the chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate that, and that is confirmed by the record. Anything to report out of closed session, County Council?
No, Chairman, there's no reportable action from this closed session. However, there are more items for the board to discuss at a time you convene closed session again.
Okay. And we're going to open and close this meeting in memory of, is there anyone that has,
I have one.
yes,
Randy Durbin, a teacher from Madera Unified School District. Anybody who grew up in the city of Madera and city schools probably got to go over to the Madera Athletic Club for PE, learn from him. The great guy. All my kids learned to swim under his swimming lessons that he did every summer. It was a great guy, and he'll be missed.
thank you. Thank you. Any others? Hearing none, we'll have the invocation from Pastor Derek Earl of First Christian Church, and we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask Dennis Cook if he'd lead us. Oh, you've done it before, but I appreciate the way you lead. Go ahead. Turn on your mic for us.
Come on, there we go.
There you got it.
There you go.
Perfect.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you and praise you for this opportunity to come together to discuss the business of Madera. And God, my prayer is that you would continue to guide and direct each district supervisor, that you would give them the wisdom and the courage to make decisions that are best for this county, and that this would be an opportunity for us to see those benefits, see those fruits come to fruition. And we thank you and praise you for the opportunity of continuing to serve here in Madera. For it's in Jesus' name we do pray, because we do believe. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Dennis. Always appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. Okay, public comment.
The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matters under jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium, state their name and county of residence for the record.
Any public here to address the Board of Supervisors?
Yes, Chairman, we have via WebEx Madeline Harris, which wishes to speak under public comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Madeline, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, good morning, supervisors. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. Well, there's a few things I wanted to bring up this morning. The first is I wanted to say Thanks to the county and to the Ag Commissioner in particular for partnering with our organization on distribution of N95 masks. We've been able to partner with the Ag Commissioner to get around 2,000 N95 masks out to farm workers in the past week in Madera County, and we just got another more or less 8,000 N95 masks that after this meeting I'm going to go pack up into little distributable kits and continue with that mask distribution to farm workers. So I just wanted to express my gratitude to be able to work with you all on that, because I've been, getting phone calls about what a critical need this is from farm workers who are out all day in this horrible air quality. And then the second thing I wanted to address you all on this morning is, I just wanted to say that even though I am not there in person, I am, regularly tuning into your meetings and listening to what you all are saying. And so in response to Supervisor Wheeler and Supervisor Rogers' remarks recently, I just wanted to say I do my very best to address each member of this board with respect, and I do expect the same in return. And I also do my best to provide you with meaningful feedback that's informed by your constituents' priorities in a timely fashion. So your policy does allow for same-day comments, and I do my best to get them to you as soon as I can. To the extent that I often do need to submit comments the day of your meetings or the day prior. One factor is that on top of my leadership council responsibilities, to be candid, I'm also doing a lot of work for this county for free when it comes to COVID response public health outreach and now this emergency supply distribution. But regardless of that, it is your responsibility as a board of elected officials to hear and receive feedback consistent with your policy. And with regards to my 9:30 a.m. email that I sent, I agree it was very gracious for Rhonda to have included that on the record, because more than anything, I just wanted to thank you all that day for moving forward the Fairmead Water Project and let y'all know that we appreciated that. In any case, I do want to be able to partner with you all wherever possible to advance community priorities and get communities' needs met. And that is why I reach out via email, provide public comment, conduct outreach in collaboration with the county at no charge to the county, and that's why I advocate to this board. So I'll continue to do my best to get feedback to you all in a manner that is accessible for you to incorporate it, and do encourage you to incorporate feedback that you're receiving from community residents wherever possible, because sometimes it's a challenge to believe the issue is the timing when we don't see that feedback get incorporated on a regular basis. So I just wanted to bring that up with you all and say that, as always, I look forward to continuing to work with you all wherever possible, and appreciate your respect. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just important that we have our communications at least before the meeting, and that's why they're scheduled at 9 o'clock. So that's the only thing that we said. I don't think there was any disrespect at all.
Yeah. No, not at all. I've said it a few times, not only to her, but anybody else. It takes me an hour to drive down here. I don't come here and get here at 9 and ready. I come here about 8. So I leave my house anywhere from 15 to 7 to 7 a.m. I don't get to see no kind of communications that comes in in between that. And the agenda comes out, on Thursday or Friday, and they got, just like I do, I got to read it all and get it done before I come down here to the meetings. And anybody that's out there wants to comment, they can read that over the weekend or whatever they got time and get those comments in on Monday. If I get them on Monday, I'll get to read them. If I don't get to. So if I don't get to read it, I'm not going to comment on it because it's
that's the thing. It's no good for them if they submit their comments late and they aren't part of the record. So it's not good for the person wanting to make the comment.
Right.
So that's the
get
whole
your point across.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I just wanted to first of all thank all of our firefighters just from all over the United States, and our first responders, our sheriff, our probation, our police officers. They're from the cities that's up there, but I brought down a map of the fire up there, my place, around 2 of my places. My cabin is right there, and it's about a couple hundred yards from it now, and this is North Fork, Oakhurst, Bass Lake. Just shows you what, and I'm going to leave that here for a while if anybody wants to come up and look at it.
Pretty shocking. Shocking looking
It is
at it
shocking
visually. I
to
mean, it is
see it.
shocking.
About 10 most acres ever burnt in California now. And so everybody knows I fought fire. I've been flown in with helicopters to fight fire when I was younger. Done it all, and I've seen, I can't even tell you how many fires, not counting control burns that we've done up there. And I've never, ever thought I'd had to evacuate like I did a week ago Saturday. Kind of spooky when you can see that fire jumping like it is and cover that many acres in a day. It was just unbelievable because most of our fires are not even that much in a month. That happened just that one day.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to thank our firefighters, our sheriff, everybody doing such a great job working together to help get this under control.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that comment. Any more public comment? If not, we'll move to the consent calendar. Any questions on the consent calendar from board?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Okay, go ahead.
O, K, P, Q, and U. I had I on there, but our CAO explained it to me this morning, so I don't have to ask no more about that. And item K under Human Resources, that project coordinator, I'm just wondering what that is and who it is and what department it's under.
Go ahead, Oba.
You can just say it from here, Jay.
Helping comment, Jay Varney, CAO. I got to remember who I am. So this is a classification that's an extra help classification that we believed was needed because throughout the entirety of the county, you have different projects that come on board. IT has major implementations. The jail has done at least one, if not two, construction projects already and is on the way to kicking off a third one. Sometimes in some of the other agencies like the sheriff's office, we have an implementation of a record management system or something like that. It's not always convenient or the right thing to do to staff it with existing staff. So if there's someone who is somewhat of a subject matter expert that can help the existing staff, we created this classification, or the idea behind presenting this classification is to allow for the departments to bring on someone as extra help for that project only, and then move them on.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It'll be a kind of a
And we
roving
do
position, yeah.
have a lot of projects going all the time.
Yeah.
I think not only are we probably one of the fastest growing counties in housing and stuff, but our own buildings and stuff and roads we're working on right now.
Right.
This, in item O, the only reason I'm bringing that up is it's really, I know Jay started it and Tyson's keeping it going, proclaiming a local emergency created by the severe drought. We've been talking about that forever, and this is that fire is showing exactly what we're talking about. So I'm just complimenting on it. So then in item P, you two, has any of this been the new staff have we discussed? Is any of this new that we've already discussed, or is just renewal of the contract with Mono County and Mammoth Lakes City?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, there's some minor changes in there that benefits both us and Mono, but for the most part, it's a Band-Aid to clean up some old language and clean things up.
Okay, I know that when we met last year, at this time last year, we talked about doing it, and they sent us a Band-Aid thing. They called it their lawyer, and I'm just wondering how this relates to that.
Supervisor Wheeler, it's not a Band-Aid agreement as they referred to it as. Actually, we had a really productive discussion. The sheriff, myself, county council, and the representatives from Mono, and the representatives from Mammoth.
Yeah.
It's probably been about 3 months ago. We all agreed that this was the best route to go, that it satisfied everyone's needs. And the other thing we did was we consolidated that old 1994 agreement into this agreement, so there isn't this constant referring back to an agreement that's 26 years old.
So this takes care of everything.
I believe it does,
Okay.
at least until someone determines that they wish to renegotiate.
Yeah.
We can't hear you.
And if I might add, Chairman, Supervisor Wheeler, you might be most interested in knowing that in the recitals, specifically E and F, the parties agree to consider pursuing and developing a new comprehensive MOU or multiple individual agreements. So,
Beautiful.
and also in the terms, it says the parties agree, item H in the terms, to meet periodically and in person whenever necessary, otherwise desirable and mutually convenient to discuss implementation of this MOU and promote direct and unfettered communication between the parties. So it contemplates continued discussions, and if there are other agreements,
Yeah, we can.
then we'll address those either together or separately
They've
with that
already signed
entity.
this too, right?
Yes, you're the last agency to sign it.
Great.
The town of Mammoth Lakes and the county of Mono have already executed it, and so
Great. Thank you very much. That, the people just need to know what we're doing with that, and especially since that contract was so old. And then item Q, Stephanie, there she is. On that tractor, I tried to, the truck is really identified in what all you're getting. On the tractor, it don't say much. Is it a track layer or is it wheel tractor? And if it is a wheel tractor, is it four-wheel drive? Because I think it is four-wheel drive.
Yes, Stephanie and Agneson, Director of Water Resources, and in the role of your flight control manager as well. Yes, it's properly a skid steer. It has tracks, not tires. It is four-wheel drive. It also has a big bucket with
Yeah, I've
teeth.
seen the old six-way bucket. I like that too.
Yeah,
I just, if you're gonna get in that sand and stuff, if it's not,
Yeah,
well,
it ain't gonna
point
work.
taken.
and we anticipate using it more for vegetation control on either side of the levees, which is obviously.
Either one.
Yeah.
Okay, it's almost got to be four-wheel drive. The new tractors aren't heavy like they used to be.
Yes.
And if they're not four-wheel drive, you might as well just park it out here in the parking lot, so. Okay, that's why, great. I'm just happy we're getting that, so. I think it'll
And
be a big
just,
addition.
heavy equipment is not my thing, but we do consult with Public Works on what the best piece
And
of
we did
equipment
bid
is
that out,
for.
right? We bid those.
Yes, it went through, the Kubota went through Sourcewell, which is a government pricing. So
Okay,
it's essentially been bid that way.
okay.
Great.
Thank you. And the last one is U, and it's that company that's going to do the engineering is something that we've talked about so long on how we're going to charge for water extraction, and at last we're doing it, and thank you for getting this company. So
You are welcome, and it did go out for bid. There were 4 responses to our RFP.
forwarded that, okay, that's great too.
Thank you.
More to better.
County Council.
yes. That was my request to speak on item O,
Oh, okay.
on the MOU.
Oh,
with
okay, you
Mono
already
County.
done, you've
Yeah.
already done it.
Yo.
Okay, very good. Any more questions on the consent calendar or comments?
Mr.
Go
Chairman,
ahead, Dennis.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, I didn't see you.
the
Yeah.
previous item, will that heavy equipment will we be able to use it on the river, the Fresno River I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's one thing I was reading. I wanted to make sure it's four-wheel drive, Max,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we could use some of that down in.
Okay, go ahead, Dennis.
Yes, Dennis Cook, Director of Behavioral Health Services for Madera County. And there's a few of us here to speak to item 5C, obviously to speak in favor of it. I just want to give a little bit of information, and then I have a couple other people that are also going to speak to it. Our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Cece Massetti, from the Madera Unified School District, Dr. Rebecca Malmo, and from Camarena Health, Rosalba Serrano Rivera are also going to speak. I just want to give a couple pieces of information. When we look at this grant that we received, it's $2.5 million, no small potatoes, but the project and the partnership that it built is going to go way beyond the 4 years that we hire these staff to do these services for students that have mental illness. And just to go back a little bit in time, in October, it was October 22nd of 2019, we had a meeting. I don't know if it was called by Brett or by Todd Lyle, but it was Brett, Todd Lyle, Dr. Malmo, and myself. And we were talking about partnerships with the schools and student mental health, and we brought up this idea of this grant that was going to come out in December. And then some interpreted that Brent gave the green light. I kind of interpreted he kind of gave me a kick in the pants. And so, it's all about interpretation there. But what happened is we started down that road, a group of us, a wide group of us who worked through this grant, and understand each other's processes and that. And here we got it, a highly, highly competitive grant. They emphasize that at everything. I think there was 19 counties that applied for the segment of the grant that we got, and I think there was either 2 or 3 that were actually awarded it. But now I want to turn over the time to Dr. Cece Massetti.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers and members of the Board of Supervisors. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. We are very fortunate in our community that we have many projects where we have worked together. I think for 20 years we worked on the Friday Night Live project together, providing services for children. And recently, with your encouragement and the availability of a grant from the Mental Health Services Oversight and Accountability Commission, you have made it possible for Behavioral Services Department to partner with the schools and local health organizations to create an interagency approach to school-based mental health for services for children and youth that will provide not only stability and emotional supports for students and their families, but hope for our community in the future. As Helen Keller said, alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. So this is a great project. The 9 school districts and charter schools in Madera County are a partner. We are very fortunate to be working with Dennis and Julie at Behavioral Health. We also are thankful for Dr. Malmo, her leadership with Madera Unified School District. Dr. Martin from Chowchilla Elementary is involved. So we have the mountain school districts, the Chowchilla area, and the valley. And then we have a community partner in Camarena Health. And so they are going to be able to provide some of these services, again, school-based. And so it's really terrific, and we're looking forward to it. All of these groups came together to bring a vision to life by creating a seamless system of support for students and families in crisis. You know, it's been said, no one person can whistle a symphony. It takes a whole orchestra to play it. So here we are as the orchestra today, who will deliver harmonious, seamless, school-based mental health services in our county. So thank you for your support. And I now turn it over to Dr. Malmo.
Thank you, Dr. Massetti.
$2.5 million grant, so.
A lot of money.
Morning.
Good morning. Pleasure to be here, Chairman Rogers. Advisors, I'm just going to add a couple of things. A snapshot of what the services will look like for our students. This grant will support 5 new employees over 3 years. 3 of them will be behavioral health clinicians. So they'll be trained to deal with crisis as well as prevention to best support our students. The remaining employees will be what we're calling behavioral health community navigators. We have determined that one of the barriers for students receiving behavioral health services is it's unfamiliar territory for them and their families. And so these new community navigators will be that bridge to help them access those services and really reduce any barrier. The last thing I'd like to say is I want to thank Dr. Massetti. She's really been the bookends on this project. She was our early champion in submitting the application to apply, which was step 1 and completely required for our process. And then also she was really the final bookend when we were completing all of the bylaws that would be needed to govern the grant. So special thanks to her, and also to Dennis and to Julie Morgan. They attended every meeting faithfully. They provided the support we needed to really build a solid plan. I also want to call out Dr. Martin, who gave us the elementary small district view. And then lastly, our grant writer, Dave Johnson. We could not have done this without him. He took all of the threads of the needs of all the different agencies and wove them together. So we thank you for your support. Thank you very much for allowing us to have these few minutes with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Malmo.
Let me write my names.
Yeah.
No worries.
Signing your life away.
I think working collaboratively is so important in reaching out beyond ourselves to actually serve the community and meet the community where the needs are. That's
Gratifying.
very, very well done.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Rosalba Serrano Rivera, and I am the Director of Behavioral Health for Camarena Health. And it has been a pleasure working along Dennis and Dr. Massetti and Becky who have came together and developing this grant. And so for us at Camarena, when they reached out to us, we had no hesitation. And this grant will not only will families be able to access easy mental health services, but this will also we'll be able to provide to the entire community in all the 3 different regions. And so at Camarena Health, we pride ourselves in not only we treat the whole person, so not only our physical health, but also making sure that all our patients in all Madera are taken care of mentally and their emotional well-being. So thank you again.
Thank you, and good to see you again.
Yes.
I'm seeing you regularly over
I
here.
know.
That's good.
That's great. Supervisor Frazier.
So yeah, this was very exciting to be a part of at the beginning. And anytime you're putting something like this, there's always the growing pains at the beginning, and we all have so much on our plate. And when looking at talking with Superintendent Lyle, we were serving the same people. We had these kids that we were serving, they were serving, and there was gaps that were missing. And I don't think I'm a pants kicker or in this case, I think I served as an interpreter, which I think is one of the main jobs as a supervisor, is to interpret government to the people. And in this case, it was government to government, and not always education doesn't speak the same as local bodies. Luckily, I picked up a lot of education growing up, so I was bilingual in that regard. And so, and then one of the points in terms of Camarena, you said you had no hesitation. That's something that I've come to find with Camarena in almost every aspect that we deal with them, is they have no hesitation to jump in and be involved. And it's almost always they're there to lead, they're there to partner. That no hesitation should be, I don't know, your slogan, but we just appreciate all the, and then once I knew that Dr. Massetti was getting involved, I knew I didn't have to go to many meetings anymore, because now we had this core group that was going to treat this, all our kids and get rid of a lot of those gaps. And if we could just have, one form that goes out that's for everybody, would be helpful. But and I think we'll get to that with this, and was proud to be there at the beginning, and knowing the people that are involved now, I can't wait to see where it ends up. So thank you, everybody, for partnering, and once again showing that in Madera County we can move mountains when we come together.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Supervisor, and pardon my humor.
Oh, no,
I kind of grew up with a pants kicker, so it might just be my own
It's
issues.
a good thing in your eyes.
I don't like to joke, Dennis, so I'm a very serious person up here all the time.
And just so we know how the process is going to work, because we're coming later with a contract to the superintendent of schools, because of the color of money, it had to go through the Department of Behavioral Health for the county. They encouraged and talked to us about that counties who receive this award, they should look to the one of the LEAs, the local education agencies, to be the lead agency. And superintendent of schools was the obvious choice, and they agreed to it. And Camarena Health will actually be the boots on the ground. It'll have their staff there, because most of these kids then will get follow-up services with Camarena Health. We take care of those kids that are severely emotionally disturbed. Camarena takes care of those kids that have minor or moderate mental health services. So as you look at the grant, it was clear where was going to fit everyone, and everyone just volunteered. We didn't have to push. There was no turf. It was a model for how things can be done, and it's going to be exciting. We'll be coming in a few weeks with a grant with a contract to turn the grant funds over then to the superintendent of schools. Probably a couple weeks, a month.
Fits nicely with our policy, our goals of intergovernmental cooperation too, as well. I mean, we've really gone light years in that direction from where we were, And we have great cooperation in our with our schools and our local governments. It's really working well,
Thank you.
and it's paying off.
Yes.
That's for sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Massetti, Dr.
Well,
You know, my mind is a little muddled.
move to approve the consent calendar.
Chair, I have a public speaker, Madeline Harris, who would like to speak an item on the consent calendar
Okay.
via WebEx.
Okay.
Madeline, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Good morning again, supervisors. I wanted to pull item 5I for some comments regarding the rental and utility assistance dollars for CAPMC. I'm so glad that you all are dedicating resources to rental and utility assistance because when people, call us with really heartbreaking stories about how COVID has affected their lives and the bills that are piling up, it's really good to know that there are resources out there that can help. So I really commend you for getting those resources out there for this. One thing we brought up just to make sure it runs as smoothly as possible to the board, to public health, to the state COVID response team deployed to the Valley, and to individual supervisors a few times in the past few months, is that these funds need to be available to all Madera County residents who need it, regardless of immigration status. My understanding is that it's been a challenge to access the utility assistance in particular through CAPMC without a social security number. And just yesterday, I received 3 calls from Madera County residents whose entire families were actually infected with COVID in each of these cases for upwards of a month. And so folks are experiencing some long-term income reducing health impacts as a result of that and need help with, months of piling up PG&E bills. But unfortunately, some of the folks who called me were turned away from CAPMC because they don't have social security numbers. And so I just want to urge you to resolve that. I don't think there's any reason in the funding source why that needs to be required. And so I wanted to encourage you all to approve this item with the change made that social security numbers not be required for that crucial assistance, and that, all forms of formal ID should be accepted as identity verification, including, a foreign passport or Mexican credencial or something. So I just wanted to urge you to move forward with the rental and utility assistance, but just make that open to folks so that people who need it the most can benefit from it as well. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other public comments on this item?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Board of Supervisors. My name is Maddie Mendez. I'm the Executive Director of Community Action Partnership of Madera County. Yes, this is great news that there is funding for rental assistance, and this also includes utility assistance. And why it's a benefit for CAPMC is because we do have the LIHEAP program, where we don't have to use this pot of money to serve for energy assistance, but we can use it for hopefully the water issues and possibly behind on sewer bills. But the focus will be, and we are fine-tuning the eligibility. We do have referrals. Jorge De Nava from CVOC has specific funding related to rental assistance for families as well. And so we're working together with the coalition to ensure no family is turned away. So I welcome those families to call me personally and I can walk them through. But our main number is 559-673-9173. We're going to have it on our websites, on our Facebook pages, and we're going to all our other social media about the rental assistance and services available. And we will walk those families that feel that they don't qualify to the agencies that can serve them. We are also working with foundations to get private funds so that we can serve those families with their needs. So it just takes time, but we're getting it all together and we are forming a team unrelated and to pay for salaries from other grant funds, but we have the team to make sure that these requests for rental assistance are processed right away and the money is placed into the hands of the landlords.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for that
Maddie. You do a
explanation.
great job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any more public comment on on the consent calendar? Hearing none, bring it back to the board. What's the pleasure?
Move to approve.
Motion made and second. Let's vote.
I'm sorry, who made the second?
That was
I did.
Supervisor Wheeler.
I hit the little button.
Go ahead.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler,
Yes?
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
thank you. The public session, item 7A.
I think we can do.
Do we have any
Six.
hearings?
Yeah, we have the hearing.
Let's go to our public hearing, I'm sorry. Public
Six.
hearing at 10:30, item 6A.
6A, introduction of the ordinance to establish administrative remedies for disputes related to the groundwater sustainability agency's administrative fee. Waive the reading and set the second reading for October 6, 2020.
Stephanie?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Stephanie Agneson, your Director of Natural Resources, and in my role as General Manager of the GSA. I'm here with Deputy County Counsel Mike Linden. We have a very short presentation on the GSA fee appeals process. Is it possible to share the screen, please? Thank you.
Short, 2 pages.
So this is the introduction of an ordinance to establish administrative remedies for disputes related to the Groundwater Sustainability Agency's administrative fee. As you recall, on November 12th of last year, prior to adoption of the GSP, the board adopted a resolution that for the purposes of charging an administrative fee. The fee can be used for the additional regulatory requirements that we have now that we are a groundwater sustainability agency in 3 subbasins. That includes a data management system, additional monitoring wells, paying for the 5-year groundwater sustainability plan, as well as annual reports. We also have other items like the item on measurement technology that we're paying for, staff, as well as administration and reserves. We amended the parcel list slightly in August. We're here today for the introduction of the uncodified ordinance, and then in October, we can bring it back to you for adoption. The appeals process is relatively simple, and I'll just say that probably most issues, 80 to 90%, can just be resolved by calling us, and we can walk people through what exactly the administrative fee is and where we came up with the list of irrigated parcels. That was from the assessor's office originally. So I've listed our phone number, 662-8015 up there. So we think that that will resolve most issues. If it doesn't, there is a timeline in the ordinance itself to send a letter or an email to me as the department head. If that doesn't resolve it, there's review by a 3-person panel, including the Chief of Development Services, one of the deputy CAOs, and someone from the assessor's office. If that does not resolve it, there's the opportunity to appeal to you, their board of directors. So that's a simple overview of what is in the ordinance. Mike and I are here. We can answer any questions.
Any questions for the Director of Water Resources?
Another one of those things we really need and got to keep moving forward with it. Thank you again, Stephanie, and
Thank you.
Mike for writing it up right.
Any questions from the public? None.
Move to approve.
A motion is made.
Move to waive the reading and set the second reading for October 6th,
Thank you.
2020.
Second. Motion made and second. It's
Public hearing is closed.
okay.
David?
I opened the public hearing. There was none, and I'm closing the public hearing. Let's vote.
Supervisor Wheeler,
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you.
One more, Doug. One more step.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mike.
Public session, item 7A.
Discussion is consideration of entering into an agreement with DocuPet Corporation in the amount of $127,000 for pet licensing services for 3 years and authorize the chair to sign.
morning. Can you
Need
pull
to
the
turn your
microphone
mic
down
on.
and make sure you turn it on? There's a button right in the middle.
Is it green?
Oh, it is
Okay,
on?
good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Rogers and supervisors. I'm Cindy Avila from Animal Services. Thank you for your time. I'm very excited today to present this opportunity for your consideration. Before the board this morning is an agreement with an innovative company called DocuPet. While Joseph Messner from DocuPet will present the details of the proposed agreement, I wanted to speak briefly about how this action will assess our animal service. It will be an asset to animal services. The action is good for the pets, the owners, and the shelter in many ways. My staff will be more efficient and not having to deal with licensing responsibilities, not to mention the probable increase in revenue for the county, our department. With the increase in licensing, we will have a better chance of returning lost pets to their owners. Per your board's direction, my team and I have been focused on achieving each of the goals that came as a result of last year's analysis presented by Team USA. Our live release rate for August this year was 93%, up from 81% in December of 2019. Due to the efforts of our keeping the animal population down in the shelter, we were able to house 37 animals evacuated by the creek fire. Streamlining our efforts are a significant piece of this, and according to our research, DocuPet will help us significantly. With that, I would like to introduce Joseph Messner from DocuPet to define the program for our board. And at the conclusion, we will both be available for any questions the board may have.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks so much, Cindy. Are you folks able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. I would like to first kind of just echo Cindy rather, her thoughts there on the local animal care and control and the work that you folks have done in light of the current fires, and working overtime there to protect pets in the community. That kind of thing is something that is very near and dear to our heart here at DocuPet. And as we get rolling with Madera County, we look forward to learning those stories and sharing them far and wide on behalf of the county and animal services, to make sure that the community really understands the importance of your local animal care and control, and most importantly, how purchasing a license and being compliant with your local ordinances can really expand that local animal care and control. So as Cindy mentioned, this is really an opportunity for Madera County to provide industry-leading pet licensing services to the community. There are some basics of what we provide, but at this point, I would like to also introduce that joining us is Dana Moore. Dana is one of our newest colleagues here at DocuPet. She actually worked for us out of Los Angeles County. She is primarily tasked with getting relationships with our current partners across the West Coast, but also building new partnerships and new relationships throughout your state and across the West Coast. And so Dana is actually going to share her screen for us and present about a 2.5 minute video, which is the best introduction to what DocuPet does and the services that we provide. Certainly happy to answer any questions directly. We are a social enterprise. We do aim to increase your pet license sales while providing modern services to the community, a lost pet service free of charge to the community, options for designer pet tags, for example, as well, just something to keep the pet licensing process creative and interesting and really bring it into the 21st century. But that being said, I'll let the video kind of speak for itself. Dana, if you were able to share your screen and launch that video for folks.
Yes, thank you, Joe. Here.
Loser?
It's good reason why more than 90% of municipalities in North America require that pets be licensed. We know the licensed pets are much more likely to get home if they're found lost. You know, the monies raised for licensing fees help fund really important animal initiatives and animal control measures in local communities. We learned that up to 60% of shelter funding comes from licensed sales, and that just 13% of pet owners comply with mandatory licensing laws. DocuPet found its mission. Since 2014, DocuPet has partnered with local shelters and communities. We provide full-service management of their pet licensing programs to increase pet license sales, decrease workload, and ensure that more lost pets get home quickly and at no cost. We've taken the time to really understand why residents fail to license their pets. And so we've developed a program that's as valuable to pet owners as it is to the communities that we serve. We've made licensing really easy. Using our modern web system, pet owners can register from any device. They can add photos, care instructions, and contact information to secure online profiles.
We created an experience that puts pets first, and when it comes to our tags, the same thing is true. Instead of boring stamped aluminum, we created a designer line of tags that are fun, colorful, and represent so many different interests so that every pet owner can find something they actually want their pets to wear. Our tags are more than just pretty though. Every DocuPet tag is tied to our free Home Safe Lost Pet service. If a pet gets away, anyone who finds the pet can look up their unique DocuPet code or call our 24/7 hotline, and our team here will work together to make a happy reunion happen.
Each tag can be etched with the pet's name and phone number, increasing the likelihood of the tag being placed on the pet, reducing the need for multiple tags, making this a much more fun way to promote licensing. We think that receiving something for your pet should be fun, and it shouldn't feel like getting a tax bill. So we package each tag with personalized inserts, information about our program, and most importantly, about the work the license fees support locally. With DocuPet, our partners have real-time access to data and reporting, so they can get all the information they need, and we coordinate all implementation steps and training when launching new programs. We build awareness of the importance of pet licensing, community events, marketing campaigns, and community canvassing programs.
The level of knowledge from everybody at DocuPet has been very impressive. Tag options, I'm really excited about that. I think that's going to be fun and really neat for pet owners. I think that's something we can get the school kids involved in. I think it's just a completely new approach to pet licensing.
DocuPet has already found that several families and dogs have been reunited because of that home safe function.
New people We'll be expanding across North America, having an average of one program every 2 weeks. DocuPet can come to work each day to make pet licensing a joy for pet owners, a breeze for administrators, and a significant funding source for animal welfare providers. We believe that by redefining and modernizing pet licensing, we can help provide a safe and happy home for everyone.
Thanks so much, Dana. And one thing that I would like to add to that is that after, in just the third year of a partnership with us, in a medium growth potential meeting, we've raised compliance in your county, pet licensing compliance, just around 40%, which is well below our current partner average of about an 85% compliance growth. With that corresponding compliance growth in the third year of this agreement, we anticipate a net program revenue, licensing program revenue for you folks of $84,000, which would represent about 110% increase over what current net program revenues are right now, in addition to also being able to provide about $15,000 in direct donation revenue to animal care services in Madera County through our Safe and Happy Fund, which is 20% of any time someone buys a designer tag from us, 20% of that revenue goes to a Safe and Happy Fund, where it's a fund set up directly for animal care and control donations in your county, in addition to folks obviously having the option to choose to donate to that fund directly. So about $15,000 in anticipated donation revenue, plus that significant growth in net program licensing revenue for you as well. So we're excited to get to work. Certainly have enjoyed the conversations with Cindy over the last now 6 or 7 months. really think that this is a great fit and a real opportunity for Madera County to kind of lead the charge to join Stanislaus County in California as partners with DocuPad and really take that next step to modernizing your program.
Supervisor Wheeler.
Yeah, thank you. Dr. Joseph, first thing, take that music out of your video because it messed up everything. You could hear every other word and every other tune on it. So take the music out first thing. How long have you guys been in business?
So we've been in business since 2014.
2014. What we used to do here before our previous director, and I don't know, I haven't talked to Cindy since she's taken over. But before that, we used to come up to the communities up, especially in East Madera County, and I think they did it down here too, and have vaccination day and licensing day, and for years they done that, and there'd be lines a mile long for people doing that, and I've preached about doing it because I can see in your backup there's only 2,700 dogs that's been licensed out of 22,900, which is totally crazy. And then our income was 60,000, but a bunch of that went to the workers and stuff. And I see on yours, estimated net revenue is 51,000 the first year, 59, and then 73. I think if you went to our communities, you could even improve that. And I just. I guarantee you there's people up there who will not come down here. Absolutely will not. I don't care how you do it, when you do it, or what have you. They will not be down here to do it. So if we could get that going again up there and do the vaccination and selling of the licenses, I think that'll really improve too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we would completely agree. And that's one thing, helping to coordinate local events like that is something that we do just as part of our innate normal service offerings. And we do that free of charge as well. So any kind of community engagement in person or, online is totally free of charge and definitely something that we would aim to support.
Supervisor Frazier.
Yes, just on the billing, so they would license through your website. Does that go on like an automatic renewal?
Yeah, so when they license online, they'll be presented the option to have that automatic renewal. Yep.
Because I've had to go back and relicense my dog a few different times. If there was, I never would get a bill the next year to re-up the license. And so I think, we have that entry point that gets people to do it. They use it through the vaccination clinic, and then it just never, there was no ongoing, right? So we never were building. We were always constantly trying to get that initial. So if we have that automatic renewal, or how do we continue to keep in touch and make sure that the bills are paid the next year, that it's not just a one-year licensing?
Yeah, automatic renewals are included, and we also, regardless of automatic renewal, we have a fairly significant renewal communications program. So during implementation, which would be the next step, Animal Services and DocuPet would set up a calendar. Typically, this starts about 45 days away from expiration of a license. It sets up a series of communications, whether that's through a physical letter, an electronic email, or a phone call, a series of communications over those 45 days, kind of alerting folks that their expiration is coming onto the radar. In addition to 15 to 30 days after expiration, we can set up a calendar of communications that all automatically generate to let them know that their license is now past expiration. So we have a fairly significant communications program to make sure that folks are well informed when it's time to renew their annual license.
Thank you. And as far as your music, I was just happy it wasn't Sarah McLachlan that came on. I didn't want to be crying here at
we try. We have a much more positive perspective. I certainly, I have no disrespect for those programs. They raise a lot of money, but yes, we try to come at a much more positive perspective on this. And yes, we had some connectivity issues on the video, so apologize for the music. Normally, if you've got it, we can link it around as an email after this if we'd like. The video is usually much more easy to listen to.
No problem.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
I have a couple of questions. One would be point of sale, off, where we can get in that point of sale when someone buys an animal. I don't know how many places in Madera County sell animals. Do people get their animals here? They get them Fresno or elsewhere? Is there a way to access that point of sale? Also, most people are going to have their animals vaccinated locally. There'd be a requirement of before they can have that vaccination that they have to have show proof of licensing or some kind of link with the licensing organization, so that they would have to, in order to have their animal vaccinated, have the license.
It's actually the other way around. You're required to have a rabies shot before you can purchase a license, which is why we go to FMAS puts on a rabies clinic once a month, the first Saturday of every month.
Well, that's my point.
We are there
It's kind of
selling.
counterintuitive.
Well, yeah, but you can't get a license without the rabies shot. State law requires that all animals have rabies shots.
Have to have the shot.
So the only way we can keep track of that is they have a rabies shot, they get licensed, we now have the rabies info.
Okay, and can we? Is there some way to access the people having rabies shots so that they're required to have the license?
Yes, actually, all the veterinarians in Madera County send us their rabies list. Somebody comes in to buy a rabies shot, we find out about it. They notify us. We then contact that person, although it'd be a lot easier for DocuPet to do that, which is part of the program. Any information we send, they then reach out to those people. So even people who never come to the shelter, we know that they've had a rabies shot, and we will reach out to them as far as
Because
getting
obviously 22,000 versus 2,200. I mean, we're missing something somewhere.
Absolutely.
And
It's just the marketing that DocuPet could do for us is just impossible for us to do with such a small
Right.
department.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to make people accountable for their
Exactly.
pets. And
That's the whole point.
people
It's the
buy
marketing
pets
and getting
then
out.
they dump them on me out in the country. And
Or Max, he's got all those whore cats out there.
yeah. Yeah. So that's the way it is, we have to make people accountable
Right.
for their actions.
Slut cat. That's what it is.
Okay. Any questions from the public on this item? Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the board. Motion to
Second.
approve. Second. And let's vote.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Portres?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
That's right. Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Still supervisor.
Yeah.
No worries.
Thank you, Cindy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, folks. We're excited to get to work.
Thank you,
you.
Joseph.
Appreciate
We're
you,
looking
Joseph.
forward to working with you and seeing you up in our communities, up in the mountains and out in the boonies out here, Ranchos and Fairmead.
We've been
and-
up there. Absolutely. We've been up there. all
Looking
week.
forward to it.
Thank you, Cindy.
East Side Acres.
7B.
Yes.
Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution to permit establishment of agricultural preserves of less than 100 acres.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jamie Bax with the Planning Division, and I have Kamara Biawogi with me, who is becoming my champion on the Ag Preserve program. So he's learning a lot, and he's doing wonderful working with the group.
That's
So
a big compliment.
Before you is the first item for this year's Ag Preserve. It's an annual item. This is to establish whether or not the board wants to move forward with preserves that are less than 100 acres. The actual contracts and each individual parcel will be back before you in December at an additional hearing. If you decide to move forward with these, there are some additional steps the applicants have to take, such as rezoning their properties. So this is the first item, as I mentioned, and if you have any questions regarding each individual parcel, we're more than happy to ask or answer.
Any questions on the program?
I'm waiting for her to ask them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
No questions.
Oh, pistachios, I hate that. No, grazing land. Item 1724, how many acres is that one?
1724 is 40.39 acres. It is grazing land. However, all of the properties to the west are also under preserve and open space grazing land. So it will be contiguous to already contracted parcels.
Perfect, perfect. Look at the pistachio, unbelievable. There goes our water going down some nut. Bunch of them, huh?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, just on that, Matt Traber, Chief of Development Services, and Jamie and Kamara have all the information there. But in hearing Supervisor Wheeler's comment there, we did review. None of these contracts, these lands are within the county responsibility area of the GSA. So they're within other GSA that most of them have rights to surface water and the like. So it's either MID or Madera Valley Water. So
all of them or most of them?
All of them. None of them are within the county responsibility areas of our groundwater sustainable agency.
Okay.
Oh, there's one almond.
Any other questions? Move this item along. Any comments from the public on this item? Hearing none, bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Motion made.
Oh, sorry, I'll
Motion
second
made and
it.
second by Supervisor
Rob
Poitras.
got the check in. I'll second it. Got the first.
Okay, so give the first to Poitras and the second to Frazier. Let's roll. Vote.
Supervisor Portress?
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier?
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler?
I'm going to vote no because I think sometime we got to draw this line on this. More conversion of good property going to pistachios mainly, and I'm going to have to vote no.
Well, this wasn't conversion. This was just going into the Williams.
Well, I know, but they've probably put them in there. You know, we're just getting carried away with this. Just my opinion.
Go ahead.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes.
Item passes 4-1.
Okay. Item 7C.
Introduction of the ordinance amending section 2.29.050 of the Madera County Code by adding subsection D thereto, establishing parking restrictions on portions of Road 432. Waive the first reading. Set the second reading for October 6, 2020.
Mr. Truber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Matt Traber, Chief of Development Services. With me as well is Doug Wilson, our County Road Commissioner, and Jared Carter, our Deputy Director of Public Works. So this item really came about as part of a collaborative effort in working with a number of partner agencies, CHP, Forest Service, our Sheriff's Office, on some parking issues that we've seen up in the Bass Lake community. So this is actually an area along Road 432 that is currently signed with no parking zones, but no one can kind of find out where those signs were created or how they were placed up there. So this is actually perfecting that, which would then give our partners on the law enforcement side some ability to cite those. We will be coming back as well. We plan to try to bring back an item in October to look at the fines associated with illegally parking. So we'll have that as well as this second reading, but we are available for any questions the board might have on this.
Have you talked with any of the parking rights advocate groups?
This is a public item, so the agenda was posted and they're welcome to attend.
Any comments from the board on this? Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I just, we had a meeting up there with every agency, I think, that's involved with this, from the DLM that takes care of the Forest Service parking and campgrounds. Everybody was there. I mean, and the CHP, Addie Matko there. CHP said that, they just in that month of July, they wrote 225 tickets, parking tickets, but they're only $20 fine. And without any good fine, is those people, whether they have to pay $50 parking down here or someplace. So they think that if we don't increase that and put it on the signs,
It's not going to change anything.
it's not going to change nothing. So the $150 we all came up with, I'll be happy when you bring it up here to us to.
Yeah, people pay $20 to park their car down in the cities, so
Right. I
why
mean,
not doing it?
$20 was nothing to them, so they just
Yeah.
kept doing it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a good deterrent to help free up those illegal parking places. I mean, they've been doing it. Totally, you can't even believe they have the road on the block.
If they're paying 50 elsewhere, if they don't get fined, then they're ahead.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly. So this is just the first step that we got to do, and I'll be proud to make that motion for that, I'll tell you.
Okay. Any public comment on this item? Having none? Back to the board.
Okay, I move to waive the first reading and set the second reading for October 6th, 2020.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion made in second. Let's vote.
Supervisor Wheeler,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez, Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Okay. Item 7D.
Compensation study. 1, update and discussion on the results of the county updated total compensation study. 2, discussion and consideration to utilize the results as a baseline information to determine where employee salaries and benefits currently are in relation to comparable counties.
Supervisor Rodriguez.
Mr. Chairman, this is a public discussion of the salary compensation.
Okay. No problem. Supervisor Rodriguez, thank you. Okay, as soon as he's, then we'll proceed. All right.
Vicki, you're live.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let me share my PowerPoint. And please let me know when you can see that.
Good morning, Vicki. This is Elba. We're going to go ahead and just introduce you before you start with the presentation.
Very good. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Elba Gomez with Human Resources and Susan Carter. So I'll let Susan introduce our consultants and just give you a little bit of information about what they're doing today.
Hi there, this is Susan Carter from Human Resources. CPS HR Consulting was asked to conduct a study for our agency. They started in January, and I'll let them go into more detail about it, but January of this year, Vicki Quintero Brashear is the person in charge, project coordinator for our project, and they're going to be giving you an outline of their recommendations to your board. And then you will, of course, either accept or otherwise the findings of the report, and then we will move forward with discussions with our unions on whatever implementation you may determine at a later date that we need to take.
So a favorable vote does not necessarily mean implementation of.
That is correct.
Just
You're simply
acceptance of the report.
correct. You're simply accepting the report.
Right. Okay, proceed with the discussion.
Great. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and gentlemen of the Board of Supervisors. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, thank you. So today, as Susan presented, we will be discussing an overview of your compensation study. CPS HR Consulting is a joint powers authority headquartered in Sacramento, and we provide HR consulting services to public agencies and nonprofit organizations throughout the United States. We also conducted your 2018 compensation study. And we're especially pleased to be presenting today since we believe that this study helps support the county's strategic plan, Mission 2023, Focus Area 2, Employees, in which one of the strategic objectives relates to the improvement of employee satisfaction and performance. And I think we can all agree that paying people equitably and in keeping with the market, it is an important factor that drives employee satisfaction. So today we will be taking a high-level overview of the following areas, including the methodology and some summary information. And of course, a much more comprehensive discussion and documentation is available in our final report, which was provided to Human Resources. So we were retained to provide a total compensation study to the county. This included the collection and analysis of both salary and benefits data, results of which were provided in a report. And then another primary deliverable were salary recommendations for about 450 positions, the complement of positions within the county. These were the 10 labor market agencies that were included for comparison purposes in the study. And although some are slightly different structures from the county, all 10 agencies did participate in the study and had comparable classes to the majority of Madera's benchmark classifications. When we conduct a compensation study of this nature, we collect data through a variety of methods. One of the ways that we collect data is through an online survey instrument, which we provide to the comparator agencies, and we give them an opportunity to attach different kinds of documents such as class specs, organizational charts, MOUs, benefit salary summaries, things of that nature. And then we also conduct research on our own, on their websites, and through telephone conversations with personnel at those comparison agencies. So not only do we review the returned survey information, but we also validate it against the materials that are provided or the materials that we find to ensure the accuracy of the data being analyzed. And although we did start the study in January 2020, there was a good deal of ramp up that takes place. And so for purposes of this engagement, we are providing an effective date of June 15th, 2020 for the salary and benefits information provided. The next 5 slides reflect the 132 benchmark classifications that were used in the study. Again, this list is available in our final report, but let me just quickly page through the next 5 slides so that you can at least get a glimpse of the types of positions that were studied directly.
Off the dais.
Okay, so when we studied the 10 labor market agencies, we did require a minimum of 3 matches to consider the data valid for comparison and salary setting purposes. And as you can see on the slide, the majority of the benchmark classifications did yield more than 3 matches. However, the 8 classifications on this slide yielded fewer than 3. So we make a special note of that in the report so that we can explain how we reach our conclusions for those specific benchmark classifications that don't have sufficient number of matches. Not only did we collect salary data, but we also collected the benefits elements shown on this slide. The data include the employer contributions made by the comparable labor market agencies. And these data yielded a total compensation value, which was then compared against the county's total compensation value. And there are a number of data sheets that are supplied as appendices to our final report. There are also a number of variables that are collected in terms of benefits elements that don't go into the total comp value. And these are provided in a separate document to the county and are equally important when analyzing market trends. So these are things like the number of vacation, sick, holiday leave, certification, or other types of incentive pays and the like. And those are, of course, provided as a summary in the report as well. And right now I'll turn it over to my colleague who is also calling in via WebEx, Igor Shegalev. Igor, go right ahead.
Yeah, you have him on. I don't see anybody.
Would it be Igor?
Yeah,
Yes, that is it. That is key.
That's what she said.
Igor, you're live.
Okay, can you hear, excuse me, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Igor Shegalev, and I'm a senior consultant at CPS HR. And I had the pleasure to participate in this project. So in the slide that you see now, we show the variance of Madera County job ranges sorted by unit from the labor market ranges for the matching benchmarks. The minus means that Madera County jobs in those units are below, in average, below the labor market by the percentage shown in this table. The positive number indicates that Madera County jobs are above the market. And we, again, talking about not individual pay rates for employees, but ranges assigned to each job within those units of Madera County. The comparison is shown by unit, and for 132 benchmarks, as we discussed, that have been studied and compared to the labor market. The remaining over 300 job classifications were slotted into appropriate pay range in Madera County system based on internal equity and internal relationship to other jobs. The table that you see now actually continues showing the summary results, average percentage above or below labor market, maximums by unit. So those are maximums of the ranges that Madera County has for those units, for jobs in those units, versus maximums in the labor market for similar jobs that we believe were a good match for this, for the jobs of Madera County. Methodology, market matches, and format were discussed and approved by Madera County leadership, and the more details are shown in the report and addendum and appendices to the report, where we actually go more in detail and show the variance, not just by unit, but by each job classification.
I should point out that they not only accepted by the leadership, but by the units as well, the labor units, the unions.
Yes, thank you.
Not just the leadership. Thank you. And also one other thing too, the summary of the results by unit does not mean that every person in that unit was below. That's an average statistical number.
Yeah, exactly. And it actually doesn't even mean that every job is below the market. There's some jobs within the unit, maybe above or below, but those are the generally averages.
Yeah, I think that needed to be pointed out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for assistance. And just one more point is that when you see any discrepancy, any variance below 5%, what we consider is the significant variance would be over 5%, plus or minus. Anywhere from 0 to 2.5% is considered to be a very limited variation, and it basically can be explained by standard deviation. Any questions?
Any questions from the board? None? Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Igor. So as with any compensation study, there are implementation factors to be considered, primarily for the classifications that compare below the market, those above the market, and then some minimum wage considerations that we'd like to point out. So the remainder of our presentation will focus on these three areas. For the classifications below the market, the majority of the county's benchmark classifications are below the market. And so when implementing equity increases, the county should adopt a fiscally sustainable strategy to move the classifications within that plus or minus 5% that Igor mentioned. When you're implementing, it's important to remember that sustainability of the county's market position will require future investment to keep pace with the labor market. And common methods to do just that include annual salary increases or COLAs. For certain classifications, extra consideration should be given to the pending minimum wage increases that will take place in January 2021 and 2022. The subsequent increases will have a direct impact on lower paid classes, but also classifications within the same series that are internally aligned. So as you know, that there will be some county positions that will require an adjustment to minimum wage, which will increase to $14 in 2021 and then $15 in 2022. So to prevent compaction and maintain appropriate internal alignment, you do need to look at the additionally impacted classifications when you're implementing salary increases. For those classifications above the market, which are only a few in this data set, there is consideration that you can Y-rate employees in the identified classifications so as not to decrease their salaries. So I think it's just important to note that even though there are some positions that are valued higher than the current market, this usually happens unintentionally based on the county's needs, especially when you're encountering recruitment and retention issues. And so, as I said, one of the most common practices to alleviate this situation is to practice the Y rating of employees' salaries. And that really includes continuing the employee's current salary at the higher rate, but then bringing in other folks into the salary range at the lower range. So you freeze your current employees' salaries, but new employees hired into the classification will be paid within the new salary range. And it's very important to note when you are implementing this Y rate, if you decide to do that, that HR and payroll and the appropriate staff are aware of the situation so that employees don't receive the benefit of the COLA or equity adjustments while being Y-rated. There are also some special CalPERS implications that need to be discussed internally when you do Y-rate employees. And that's another area of discussion that we encourage our clients to have at length prior to making the decision of conducting a Y-rate. And that is our overview of the compensation study. We'd be happy to take any questions if there are any at this point.
Any questions? None. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. You want to wrap it up, Alba?
So yes, so at this point, we're just giving you the presentation for the compensation study. We are not doing anything with it at this point. It is just for the board to accept. And we will be sharing it with the unions. Actually, we already sent it to the unions as well. So we met our October 1st deadline to share it with them. So at this point, this is it for the compensation study.
Very good. What is the pleasure of the board?
Move to approve.
Yep.
Oh, public comment.
I already asked public comment, I believe.
Move to approve item 7B.
Yes.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Let's vote.
Supervisor Wheeler,
Yes.
Supervisor Portress.
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Item passes 4-0
4-0. One abstention.
and one abstention.
Okay. Thank you for the presentation on that item. Item 8, pending legislation. We do have one item for discussion, Assembly Bill 2040. Bigelow. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Joel McGay, County Administrative Office. AB 2040, sponsored by Congressman Bigelow, is to fix a historical calculation error for our property taxes within the county. The bottom line is that the county in total was shorted 2.1 million. The city of Chowchilla was shorted 1.2 million. And the city of Madera was over apportioned 221,000. Majority of the funds, in addition to the funds that city of Madera was over apportioned, will be coming from the schools. However, AB 2040 makes sure that the state will backfill the money that needs to be taken to schools if AB 2040 is passed. So there will be no negative impact to the school districts by passage of AB 2040. There is a negative impact for the city of Madera in the amount of 221,000. What we are requesting your board today is to send 3 letters. One is a letter from the board to the governor urging him to sign AB 2040 by the end of the month. We are emphasizing that the 2.1 million being returned or received by the county over the course of 5 years will significantly help our ability to maintain fire protection services and to deal with the fiscal crisis caused by COVID and the foreseeable crisis because of the Creek fire.
Not to mention it's money we're owed.
It is right.
It's fair.
It's fair, right? And the letter to the city of Chowchilla is to inform them of the potential 1.2 million over 5 years, and the letter to the city of Madera is to urge them that the interest of fairness and fairly calculating and keeping to the true intent of the law is we're asking the city council to send a support letter for it as well.
Okay. Very much. What's the board's pleasure?
I make a motion that we send the letter.
Okay, motion made.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions on this from the public? Questions from the board? Let's vote.
Supervisor Portress.
Yes.
Supervisor Frazier.
Yes.
Supervisor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Supervisor Wheeler.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. Supervisor and staff reports. Anything, Supervisor Rodriguez? Wittress?
I would just like to mention that we're in the midst of our DC trip with the San Joaquin Valley Policy Council. We've had 1/3 of it last week on Zoom. It worked out real well. We have 2 more meetings this week.
Wow.
So it's a virtual DC lobbying trip.
Wow, that's something. I'll be attending my first RCRC meeting since COVID by virtual, and had a real tough time getting that together. It's a big meeting. That'll be this week. Anyway, Supervisor Frazier.
I have the San Joaquin JPA next week on Friday. My coffee and conversation is also being pushed back to next week from tomorrow.
Supervisor Wheeler.
Yes, I got a town hall Thursday, 6 to 8. Most of the speakers and stuff are going to be on the fire and the air. The air board meeting Thursday, we've had some of the worst air that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Looked on it yesterday or the day before, it was, they had the fourth worst air in the whole western coast. Whole western, most 1,000.
How is that environmentally friendly?
Yeah. Well,
Not working, is it?
Campfire put out enough PM 2.5 onto whatever it burnt. 3 years total what we regular put out. This one, going with it, is probably, I'm just waiting to see those numbers to probably be 10 years right now. Just
The health risks are staggering, and the
unbelievable.
environment suffers hugely
Everything.
due to this
Wildlife is
policy
wiped out
that's
up
out
there.
of control, isn't it? And
We-
the answer's so simple.
Yeah, real simple.
It doesn't have to be this way. CAO, any
I got
report?
one more.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we went on a tour. Matt Watson took 4 of us on the tour of the fire. Haven't been in there. It is devastating. The houses that burned in Cascadel, it's down to this right here, except for the metal. One had like 4 cars, and amazing how cars will melt.
Wow.
It's just, I can't even tell you how devastating it is. And I've been to a lot of fires in my life. Nothing.
Some campgrounds that are totally gone forever. I mean, they're gone.
I just wanted to make one other statement. I just can't believe how transformation that we've done from our CAO, our sheriff, to a CAO, and our undersheriff to the sheriff. They never skipped the beat. We've never missed a iota of anything that I can see of. Karen, I see, is doing the same thing. Elba, our HR director, great job, I think, in County. So
We're firing all 8 cylinders.
all
I
8
think.
cylinders plus.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we're at V12.
Yeah, I was just going to say we have a 12-cylinder engine, so we're missing 4.
Sheriff, CAO?
I have nothing to report, Chairman.
Counsel?
Yeah, Chairman, just to dovetail off of Supervisor Wheeler's comment, just a reminder that your closed session will continue and perhaps you break until 12:30 so you can continue that discussion.
Yeah, that's what we're going to
Yes,
do.
we can have lunch. That's a great idea.
Clerk, anything to report?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, so we're going to adjourn until 12:30, and we'll reconvene at that point, reopen the meeting for our interviews and finish closed session. Thank you.
Thank you, boss.
Yeah, that was.
Good policy would be, before you go live, let us know you're going live. Because we talk. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh.
Okay, the board is reconvened, and we're going to go into closed session. And are there any questions from the public on us going into closed session at this point on the items? None? Bring it back to the board, and let's retire to closed session. Thank you.
Already opened?
We're back from closed session. Anything to report out from closed session?
Chairman, there's no reportable action from your afternoon closed session.
Okay, with that, we'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you.